By the mid-20th century, most of the world held its breath. After decades of war and oppression, independence finally seemed within reach for many countries because between 1945 and 1960, many countries across Asia and Africa broke free from their European rulers. But freedom on paper doesn't fix what centuries of extraction destroyed. The borders they inherited were random lines drawn in old offices thousands of miles away. Tribes were split, rivals were forced together, and economies were hollowed out. When freedom came, they had nothing solid to build on. No industry, no infrastructure, no access to capital. Many defenders of colonization have claimed that colonial powers have invested in infrastructure of the countries that they occupied. But what they conveniently leave out is the fact that railways and roads that were built mostly led only to ports. It didn't really improve the country that they were occupying. No, they were just creating an efficient way to extract resources out of the country. So when independence finally came, economies suffered massively. The colonizers just left behind debt and division. So what do you do when your country is broke before it even begins? You borrow. And that's exactly what they did, and that's where the IMF comes in. The institution's founding goes back to 1944, when delegates from 44 nations gathered in the US resort town of Bretton Woods. Their mission was to rebuild a post-war world and design a financial system that would prevent another global collapse. Out of that conference came two powerful institutions: the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, better known as the World Bank, and the International Monetary Fund, or the IMF. And the mastermind behind all of this was Harry Dexter White. Now, Dexter had an interesting origin story. He was born into a poor immigrant Jewish family, and he understood what economic struggle looked like early on. It wouldn't be until age 30 that he would enroll in college, and from there, his economic brilliance would soon quickly be recognized. That drive pushed him through Harvard and into the US Treasury, where he became one of the most powerful economists of his time. At Bretton Woods, he was recognized as a principal architect for this new post-war financial system, and by the war's end, he held in his hands a blueprint that would steer the global economy and the fates of nations for generations. And so the IMF actually began with good intentions. It was meant to rescue countries in crisis, offer short-term loans, and help them regain stability. When a nation's currency crashed or imports outweighed exports, the IMF would step in with temporary loans to fix the balance of payment problems. Now keep in mind that temporary is the key word here. Loans were supposed to stabilize, to buy time, to give nations a chance to breathe. But as history often shows us, temporary can reach into decades. And that's exactly what happened. By the 1970s, the global economy had turned upside down. The collapse of the Bretton Woods system and the surge in oil prices sent shockwaves throughout the global markets. Developing nations borrowed heavily